Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Today with Ray. I'm your host, Ray T, and this is the show that highlights everyday entrepreneurs. If you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like button, and notification bell so you'll be the first one to know when this episode comes out. This week, we have a good friend of mine, Dr. Gretchen Rivas with Infinity Acupuncture. I'm so happy to have her on the show. We have tons to cover. Gretchen, thank you for being on the show this week.
Thanks for having me, Ray.
No problem. Gretchen and I actually went through Leadership Wilmington together, so we finally just connected, and she was like, hey, I got a lot to offer, I got a lot to say, and yeah, we're here now, so
Here we are. Yeah.
here we are. I always like to open up my interviews by asking the question, tell us a little bit about yourself and why it is that you became an entrepreneur.
Okay, well, I became an entrepreneur out of desperate need, as so many of us do, right? When I moved to Wilmington, I had just left my husband, brought my two kids. I was a single mom, and I had to do something in order to make enough money, right, to support my children. And I knew a 40-hour-a-week job, and this was 23, no, more than that years ago, would not be enough, $7 an hour or whatever. And so I went back to school, got my massage license, and, opened my massage practice, which was just me at the time. And one of the things that really changed things for me was, this tells how long ago it was, I went to some festival at Longleaf Park.
Okay.
And they had a silent auction, and I won an ad in the Yellow Pages.
Wow. Yeah.
Right? So I won a year's thing of advertising in the Yellow Pages for $200, which back then was a big expense for me, but that's what it usually cost a month. And I got it for the whole year. It was a quarter-page color ad, and I threw something in there, and that helped the phone start ringing. So that's what it took back then.
Right.
And that helped. So over the years, I, had my massage practice. I taught at Miller Mott School at the college in the massage department.
Okay.
And then I found out that from one of my friends, part of what I had to do as teaching is I taught an energetic class. So with that, I had to teach about the basics of Chinese medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And the more I learned about that, the more I realized, well, gosh, if I could do that, I could help even more people than just massage, and it wouldn't be as hard on my body. And so I found a way to go to school and not have to leave Wilmington.
Okay.
So the school that I went to is Zhengdao School of Classical Chinese Medicine, and it's in Boone.
Okay.
And I call it a commuter school because what you do is you're there 1 week a month, and you go like 10 hours a day for a week. So you get all your class hours in 1 week. So my week was the third week of each month. So I would leave Tuesday night. I would drive to Boone. I would be in class 10 hours a day, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then I would drive back. And then I would bust my butt doing massage for 3 weeks so I could afford to take that week off. And that went on for 4 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, a lot of people just think, acupuncture education is like, they have no idea like how intensive it is.
Yeah.
So 4 years of back and forth, a lot of tears, a lot of like, I don't know if I can do this.
Oh, of course. Of course.
So hard. But what happened is during that time, because I was gone a week every month, right? I had a couple massage therapists call and say, are you hiring? And I was like, well, why not put somebody else to work in the weeks that I'm gone? And so that's kind of how Relax started, was having other massage therapists come in. Started growing, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
And work while I was out of town. And then when I got my acupuncture license, I rented one room at a chiropractor's office. And so I was over there. And so I still needed people doing massage. And I was working out of my home at the time. I had like a addition at the house that I was working out of. And so that just kept going. And then a year after I got my after my acupuncture license, you know how they say you have to think about what you want and you manifest it. So I really wanted an office where I could move out of my house with the massage and move the acupuncture and move it all into one place. And lo and behold, one day I was looking on Craigslist. Again, this was a while ago. And there was an ad for the office space in Olander Office Park.
Mm-hmm.
And I called Todd Schaefer, the owner of the space, and he was so kind and worked with me. He's like, he wanted $1,100, which at the time was way out of my range. But he worked with me on like starting it lower and then incrementing it up for me, and allowing me to afford it. So back then I thought we were in the big time. We had 3 treatment rooms, a lobby, and an office space.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, we have all this space.
This is it.
Yeah, this is it. And so I hired a couple more massage therapists because we had the space to do it. And then within a year, the space next door and upstairs was available. And we're like, we could probably use that space too.
Right.
And so I rented that space, and it had a really big room, and we had a beautiful couples massage space up there. And then another treatment room, hired more massage therapists. And then a year or so after that, I rented the space across the parking lot for Infinity. And we separated the massage and the acupuncture.
Right.
Because we were just growing too fast. And I do have to say, I have to give my credit to Reggie Shropshire, because at this time, through all this, big part of the reason I was growing so well is I was working with a business coach.
Yeah.
So I did not come up with all this stuff on my own. Yeah. I am not the guru of all things. You know, I had somebody that was pushing me and working with me and helping me set goals and just do all the things that you need to do to be successful. Because you can't just at one time I thought I would just always just be a massage therapist on my own. Because I knew I didn't have what it took to run a business. And then a little voice said, but you can hire people. And I was like, oh, and that little seed was born, right? Because my biggest fear was, I'm really good at the big picture ideas and working with people and patients and clients and all that stuff. That's what I love, right? I love helping people.
Yeah.
But the bookend of stuff, please, no. So I still remember my very first hire. Her name was Dawn. Maybe she'll be watching this one day. I'll have to send the link to her. And she was a lifesaver. So when we moved into the space at Oleander Oaks, I had my very first employee.
Yeah.
Because everybody else was 1099.
Right.
And I had my very first employee. She answered the phone. She did the front desk. She took care of everything. And she had been a manager of McDonald's out in Oregon for years. Her husband was Coast Guard. They were here for a 3-year stint. And she was a lifesaver. She was so amazing, and she really helped us grow and do the things that we needed to do. And then over time, we just kept growing, it's like, oh, well, maybe we need a second desk person to answer phones in the evenings. And then, because answering the phone is a really big deal, especially in massage, right?
Right.
Because a lot of times people, they want a massage, they just go on to the next person. Like, if you don't answer, then just go on. They need something right then. And so we did that, and then we moved Infinity over. And then a couple years after that, the space that was next door to Relax again, it's kind of like a space. There's like 3 condo kind of units in these spaces at Oleander Oaks. The people who I thought would never move out, moved out. And so we had to do a total re-upfit.
Yeah.
It was maroon walls and purple wallpaper from the 80s. They had been there a long time. So we did a total redo on it. So the space is beautiful now. And then we ended up closing the small space upstairs. So we kind of moved everything over. And so then we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 treatment rooms.
Wow.
For massage therapists and last year I was talking to, I don't know if you remember, did you know Franchon?
I did.
Okay. So Franchon was working with us and helping us. And we were so she worked with us a couple years, and I was just struggling with trying to run Infinity and Relax.
Yeah.
And so she's like, why don't you sell it? I was like, what?
Yeah.
Sell my baby?
Yeah.
Sell my heart and soul? I don't know. And then I thought, oh, life would be so much easier, if I had one business to run instead of two. And so I did.
Yeah.
I, put it on the business market, and we found a buyer, and Jean and Ken Rigg took over. And, Jean's pretty much, it's one of her dreams and things, and she's doing an amazing job over there with it.
Beautiful.
And yeah, it's still just an amazing space. They've even expanded it a little more and added infrared sauna and all the things. They have some amazing massage therapists over there. So, but it's been a very weird thing because for I was licensed in 2002. So 21 years, owning that business. And then all of a sudden, like all the stress of dealing with 15 massage therapists and 4 front desk staff and a manager and just all the things, all that was gone.
Yeah.
Now I have a team of 7, and it's so much more manageable.
Yeah.
So we sold Relax, and then that gave us the money to do an upfit on a new space at the Hampstead Clinic for Infinity. So we did that last year, and that was it has been amazing, the change, because I always thought that acupuncture and massage were always destination places, that you didn't really need to have a storefront.
Mm-hmm.
But what happened is we found a space next to Harris Teeter in Hampstead. We were in this little tiny house on 17, very loud with the traffic and all the things. And so the landlord decided to go way up on the rent.
Oh. Yeah.
And we're like, well, wait a minute. If we're going to pay this much a square, let's go find something better.
Of course.
And so JJ found this place next to the Harris Teeter that was they were like a sublet retake over because the brush and board place, they were like, yeah, we want to travel. We don't really want to pay the lease on this anymore. Who wants it? So we got in there, and then my friends, Shannon and Tara Gilmore of the Essence Design and Build, they did the upfit for us, and it is amazing. Like, to go from this little house that was probably built in 1805, I mean, it wasn't that old, but it felt like it was that old sometimes, to this beautiful new space with 5 treatment rooms and a beautiful lobby and the higher ceilings, and the thing is we now have a sign and people see it.
Yeah.
And where I thought that didn't matter, what I have found out is it does matter.
It does.
Because people see it, like, acupuncture.
Yeah.
I never thought about that before. And they'll pop in, they'll see JJ at the front desk, and they'll be like, can acupuncture help with fill in the blank, right? And the answer is always yes. As a matter of fact, it can. And JJ will, get that person on the book so we can help them feel better. And so it has just grown like hotcakes up there.
Right.
And my dream is to hopefully do the same thing for our Wilmington office one day over at Hanover Center.
Okay.
So I'm just kind of holding that space and that dream and that manifestation for.
Listen, it sounds like your manifestation has worked so far. Like the story and journey just seems so grand, but so naturally fitting. To go back all the way to the Yellow Pages.
Yeah.
For the Gen Zers or whoever's watching that don't know what Yellow Pages are.
Oh my God.
Think about Google in a 345 sheet book where you had to actually manually look up places, phone numbers and addresses. So to start your path with the gift that kind of launched that ad space that launched everything is beautiful. I mean, that's probably something no one's gonna experience again because Yellow Pages aren't a thing.
No.
But to hear how everything kind of just progressed for you to the fact most entrepreneurs don't get the beauty of selling a business off.
Right.
Which I think that's such a unique perspective that you have. And I can only imagine, that was your first baby. That was your love. You built that, like you said.
Yeah.
That's a 20-year-old child at this point.
Exactly.
And it's like them moving out the house. I couldn't imagine like if someone's like, hey, I want to take over your talk show. And I'm like, no way.
And then I learned through Reggie hiring tips. Does anybody want that? Do anybody
Yes.
want hiring tips?
As we talk about hiring, I have hired a great producer who's telling me we have to take a commercial break.
Commercial break.
When we talked about risk, I'm in the red. I'm going to risk him beating me up.
I said, hold up. Wait a minute.
Because we need to
Absolutely not.
look, he's like, absolutely not. Everyone knows Vance, the bossy producer. Anyway, we got to go to commercial break. I'm sorry, guys. We'll be back. I'll see you on the other side.
At Cape Fear Community College's Small Business Center, our mission is clear: to boost the number and success rate of viable small businesses in New Hanover and Pender County. We offer high-quality, readily accessible assistance to prospective and existing small business owners, leading to job creation and retention. As a community-based provider, we offer education, training, counseling, referral, and information services, all at no charge. Remember, the business starts with an idea, but success begins with a plan. We're here to help you with that plan. To get started, visit our website at cfcc.edu/SBC or give us a call at 910-362-7469. Let's get started.
Discover the innovations shaping the future of our oceans. Join us on September 17th at the UNCW's Burney Center. Engage with leading experts like Mark Huang from Sea Ahead and Susan Casey, author of Voices in the Ocean. Participate in dynamic panel discussions on building a North Carolina Blue Hub, empowering communities, startup innovations in sustainability, and funding ocean innovations. Early registration ends August 1st, so register now to secure your seat. Be part of the change. See you there.
Hey guys, welcome back. I have to apologize. Vance would never beat me up. It was a joke.
Thank you. I'm a great producer.
He's a great producer.
Very supportive.
He is awesome.
Yeah. So JK there, but he was giving me the evil eye to take the commercial break. But we're back. We're here with Dr. Gretchen Rivas with Infinity Acupuncture. You gave us so much great content in the earlier half. We talked about your journey. We talked about how it was being a business owner and selling off your 20-year-old baby. We talked about how you're growing your acupuncture business. We talked about you devoting a whole week for 4 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
To lead up to where you are right now, which is an incredible journey. A lot of people don't get to have the momentous that you do. I guess I want to dig a little deeper for the rest of the entrepreneur community that may struggle with that or have those thoughts like, I want to grow in another space, but I guess I don't know how, or I don't know how to let go.
Mm-hmm.
What pieces of advice do you have for those people who come to that crossroad?
Mm-hmm.
Do I stay and have burden's not the right word, but do I carry the two businesses, but like I know I really want to let this go, or do I just go for it?
Right.
Do I trust someone enough?
Yeah.
To
So
go for
one
it?
of the things I can tell you about if you want to get your business ownership to a place that you can sell your business, the main thing you have to do is not be in the business. And I know that sounds crazy,
No.
but if you are the main thing that behind the business, like if the business can't run without you, it's hard to sell. So you
That makes
have to get
sense.
your business to a place where it can run without you. And that's basically where I was with Relax.
Okay.
I had a manager over there. I had the front desk staff over there, and we had regular meetings, and I kind of steered the ship, so to speak, with, yes or noing on marketing and, a lot of those types of things. But I could be gone for a month and
It would still run.
it'd still run. Infinity does too. It doesn't really need me. I like to think it needs me.
Yeah.
It doesn't really need me. But that's the main thing. Like, you can't really get a good price or anything for your business if you're still the main voice of it.
That makes so much sense.
Because the people think, well, if the owner's not there anymore, then will everybody leave? Will it, will it fall apart? What's the value without you? And that's where you need to get to. If you want to grow your business, And that's part of what Reggie taught me is there are layers of business ownership and growing your business. You know, and I remember when we first started, he'd have all these things that you could fill out. I'm like, oh, I'm not doing any of this stuff.
Yeah.
I don't even have an employee. It's just me. What am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. And mine was very gradual. I did not. It was all as we could afford it.
Right.
I know some people have no problem with borrowing big chunks of money, but each time that we expanded and paid as we went.
Okay.
Because I really don't like being in debt.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we have some debt because of Florence and from the pandemic, because, Relax was closed for 2 months
Right.
during the pandemic, and that hit us pretty hard. And Infinity was closed for a month. And then when we came back to work, we were seeing like 8 patients a week instead of 78 patients a week. So financially, we took that idle loan and, we're still paying that back. So
Okay.
that did help us. But other than those 2 SBA loans, we've never borrowed money to grow.
Okay.
And that's not a good fit for everybody. And I understand that. But it makes life a lot easier when your bottom line is easier to meet because you don't have a whole ton of debt.
Right.
Right. And, my husband is a non-risk taker. He's like my opposite. So I'd be like, we're going to expand to this place. He's like, wait, what? What about this? What about this? So he was always good about balancing me out and making me look at the risks of what, we're getting ready to take on. And if you don't have somebody like that, it's good to bounce your ideas off somebody like that. Like, here's what I'm thinking, and have somebody that's, I don't want to call them a negative Nancy, but, that has that, like, is adverse to risk, because then they can kind of tell you to think about, well, this could happen or this could happen. And I was actually just listening to another podcast the other day, and he was talking about plan for what would happen if you did go out of business.
Okay.
And then what would it take for you to avoid that? Which I was like, that's really good. And so we've weathered some of the worst things, a hurricane that closed us down for a while, a pandemic that closed us down for a while. But I think part of what helped us is we didn't have a lot of debt.
Yeah.
Right. And so what we do is we'll put things on credit cards. So this is if you can manage this, I highly recommend this. I learned this from another business owner. And I have 2 airline credit cards.
Okay.
Okay. So American Airlines and Delta. And I put everything for the business on those 2, pay them off every month. If you can't pay them off, don't use them. Don't get into the 29% interest credit card debt. Like, I highly don't recommend that. But then what happens is, so we use it, we pay it off, we use it, we pay it off. But I'm accumulating all those points. And then I also have status. So when I do fly for business, I have status for business. I have a lot of points. My husband and I went last year to Bali for a continuing education class for me. So it was a tax write-off because it was class.
Hey.
But, we stayed at the Ritz-Carlton in Bali on points.
Okay.
We stayed in San Francisco on points. We flew to San Francisco on points. We did. So as you accumulate those things, I mean, it might be a different credit card you want, but I personally like to have a nicer seat when I fly.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I recommend airline cards, but you can use anything. But, having an A card, and plus you get free baggage check and you get a lot of bonus extras. But when it comes to like deciding, do I stay or do I sell? You have to see, are you at a place where you have value in the business? Can the business run without you? And can you go on a 2-week vacation without them calling you every day? If you can't go on a business, if you can't go on some kind of vacation for at least 2 weeks without them calling you every day, you're not in a place to sell.
That's good advice.
And the other advice that I would have for entrepreneurs and people, don't be afraid to hire someone. Because I was like, I'm so afraid. But hiring Dawn and then since then multiple employees over time, best thing ever, because you have to hire people to do the things you're not good at. None of us are good at everything.
Right.
None of us. So I really am terrible at bookkeeping and spreadsheets and all those things. And my CFO, my manager, Jennifer Foltz, is amazing at that. Like, she gets into spreadsheets. She's like, oh, I got to do a spreadsheet. And I'm like, oh, she's like, yay. So hire the people that do the things you hate, or the things that you don't excel at, or the things you're just really not good at, because then you're free to really grow the business in the areas that you are good at.
That's so true.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to hire. You don't have to hire somebody full time.
Yeah.
When it comes to hiring, one of the things I learned from Reggie was you put the ad out, but you have to have them call.
Right.
Well, it's, at least in our business, because when I'm hiring front desk, they need to be able to talk on the phone. So I weed out a whole lot of people very quickly. If I can't understand you, or you sound like an idiot, or whatever, I'm just like, yeah, we're not even, like, no, because you are going to be the face and voice of my company, and you need to be clear speaking and all that. And if they can't read the directions in the ad to call, that means they're probably not good at following directions. So
True.
highly recommend. We use Google Voice, very simple. In the ad, we put that phone number, call this number to apply. We have 3 questions, like, what did you like best about your last job? What did you like least about it? Why are you the best fit for this job?
Right.
And have them answer that, and then we'll call them back for a one-to-one, face-to-face interview. So you get 250 resumes on Indeed, and you get 5 phone calls. Weeds out really quick.
Yeah.
So highly recommend, if you're looking to hire, that you do something similar to that, to weed them out, because who has time to look at all those resumes? And a lot of times those are not even sent by the person. It's just automatically done.
Yeah.
Oh, this might be a good fit. And I think Indeed does it for them. They've not read the ad. They don't know anything about the job. You don't want those people.
Right.
So, you want somebody that really wants. One of my current front desk, she came by the office, said, I just wanted to make sure that you got my
she was
phone
serious.
message and my ad. And she got hired. Because she showed that initiative and she really wanted it. So highly recommend to do that.
Yeah. I do have, so I have to go back to when we were in Leadership Wilmington at our retreat, and she kind of put in a sidebar practice for your acupuncture. Excuse me. What are some things, or what is the most common things people come in to your acupuncture office to relieve, or
Okay. Yeah. So the number one reason people get acupuncture now is pain, because they know that acupuncture helps with pain. And it is well documented, well researched. Plus I have a patient list full of people who have come in and have tried everything else. We're usually the last call on the block. If we were your first, you would suffer less, let me tell you.
Okay.
But it's so good at relieving pain, because what acupuncture does is it takes people out of that sympathetic nervous system, which is that fight or flight, and the body's always stressed, and into parasympathetic, the rest and digest and heal state.
Okay.
So it's excellent for anxiety.
Okay.
Which is funny. We started writing some anxiety specific. We get more hits on questions about anxiety than we do
Really?
back pain,
Wow.
because anxiety is just rampant in our world today. And acupuncture will just we call it nature's Xanax.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
People go in, they're like, they get a treatment, they come out, and they're like, oh my God, what did you do to me? And it's just, and it just helps balance the nervous system. And it also opens the energy flow of the body so that you can heal. There's a lot of scientific stuff behind it all. We don't really have time to, that's a whole other podcast.
Yeah, I know, right? No, I saw it
But it's
firsthand when we were at the retreat. She did a couple of people that, asked for it, and they were, who was it? They were just like, I'm just so chill.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said they almost felt like they were having deja vu because they were just so relaxed. I do have my thought, like, because it's funny, needles are such a tricky thing for people. Like, I have a whole bunch of tattoos. I'm not scared of needles, but like, I think it's something just to, I don't know. Do you ever have the people that come in that are like just
Terrified of needles?
Yes.
All the time.
Really?
Yes, because what people are thinking about when they talk, so I'm afraid of needles. They're afraid of hypodermics. Nobody likes a hypodermic.
Yeah.
Because putting in there is digging up. It's a big, 18 of ours fit into a hypodermic. Like, they're really tiny. They're super thin. You don't really feel them going in.
Yeah.
But you do have sensation with them, because that's when that energy, we call it chi, right?
Yeah.
That energy connects with the needle. And what's really cool is when you can feel it coming
Okay.
to the pin. Vance is like, yeah, I felt that for because he's got acupuncture. But it's really cool because there are certain points that you'll do, and we kind of manipulate, and it's like, okay, there it is, and you're like, there it is. There's and there's like this energetic connection. Wow. That it is. It's so cool.
Yeah.
And it works. I mean, it wouldn't still be around for 4,000 years if it didn't work.
Right.
And it treats billions of people around the world. And I think if people just got over their like fear of needles, because like my son, Joaquin, he comes in and gets acupuncture. He doesn't really like it.
Yeah.
He's very needle sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
So he prefers to get his treatments face down. That way he doesn't have to see them. So you can do that if you want to. And it's just less, triggering for him.
Right.
But he gets it because he loves it. It helps him with, emotional balance and, wrist pain. And so if you have gaming wrist or any of that kind of stuff, tech neck, wrist, guys and gals, acupuncture helps a lot with that stuff.
Okay.
So it's good for all that. Yeah.
And her information will be in the description box. So if you're here in Wilmington and the surrounding areas and you suffer for anything or you just want to try it out,
we also have that. So that's our latest thing is we've added Acu Express.
Oh.
So we have these little kickback chairs, basically try acupuncture. It's a lot fewer pins. It's like 5 points. You just kick back and get in the Zen zone.
Wow. Wow. I'm so intrigued. I'm going to have to probably try it out for myself. Never tried it. So that Acupuncture Express will be great. I do have one final question for you. Mm-hmm. And that is, if you had any advice to give to an entrepreneur, what would that be?
Gosh, there's so much. Don't be afraid to hire.
Yeah.
You can't grow your business if you don't hire someone, or you'll always be just by yourself.
That is sound.
You'll never grow it to where you can sell it if you don't get out of it.
That's sound. So there it is, people. Gretchen, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been
such a pleasure.
Look, I was going to say the same thing.
Great minds think alike.
That's right. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Vance, for being such a great producer. Phenomenal, guys. But anyway.
I don't hit like. Just FYI.
Oh my gosh. Thank you to Wilmington Podcast Studio. Thank you for our sponsors for making this season work out. And thank you for watching this episode. Until next time, I'm Rama T. Go out and support a local business. Bye. Hey guys, it's me, Rama T, and I hope at the end of this episode you felt super inspired to shop within your local community. But make sure to tune in next week where I'll have another entrepreneur to talk about their journey, here only on YouTube.